So once we have our basic layout of walls completed, the next logical components that we need to add are doors and windows. Adding doors and windows in Revit is nearly the same process, so we're going to look at both of these object types together. You can find both of these tools on the Door tab. The Door tool is here, the Window tool is here, and we'll go ahead and start with doors. So I'm in a file called Adding Doors and Windows in the Chapter 4 of the exercise files, and it has our completed wall layout. I'm going to go ahead and click the Door tool. The shortcut for that is DR, if you'd rather use the shortcut. And like many of the other tools, the ribbon will change to show us a tinted green context ribbon, Modify Place Door. The options bar will appear with some options, and the properties palette will also appear to show us door-specific options as well. Now, the first option I want to talk about is the one here on the properties palette, which is already chosen by default, called Tag on Placement. Now, the way this works is if I were to just place a door anywhere, it's going to give me that big pillbox tag there indicating that this is door number 1. Now, I don't actually want the tags right now. We're going to talk about tags in another movie. So what I'm going to do is undo that, and I'm just going to turn off that behavior. Now, when I do, you'll notice that all of the options in the options bar gray out because they were all related to tags. So when we tell Revit we don't want tags, then it doesn't bother to give us those options anymore. Next, let's focus our attention to the properties palette. Now, at the top of the properties palette on the type selector, we can see that the family name that we have to choose from here is called Single Flush. And beneath that family, we have several variations called types. So the family name is tinted here in gray, Single Flush, and then each of these is considered a type. Now the types are named by default in Revit based on the sizes of that object. So in this case, it's a 36-inch wide door by 84 inches tall. And I'm going to start with that one, and I'll use that as the front door to the condo unit. And if you look carefully at the temporary dimensions as they appear on screen, you'll notice that Revit is trying to find logical relationships for us. So in this case, it's centering it on the hallway, which is a pretty good idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and click for that. And then I'm going to change my size to 30 by 84, and I'll place the next series of doors. So I need one here in my utility room. And notice the temporary dimension is currently reading 1 foot. That's a pretty good location. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. Then I'll go ahead and add one to this bedroom. So because of the way we set the temporary dimensions in the Adding Walls movie, you can see that the dimensions are measuring to the outside edges of the door, which is very handy here to allow us to set the jamb size of the door. So in this case, we have a 4-inch jamb. If I come over here in this bedroom, we have a 6-inch jamb, and so on. Now, when you're placing your doors, you can control exactly the way they're placed by simply subtly moving your mouse. And you can see I can flip it from the inside of the wall to the outside of the wall. I can also change the way the door swings from left to right or up to down depending on the orientation by tapping the space bar. So again, if we use the space bar like we've seen in other movies, it changes the orientation of the object we're placing. So between those two techniques, you can go in and place your doors exactly where you need them to be and orient them exactly the way they need to go. So I'm going to go ahead and place all my single flush doors. And that's pretty much all the single flush doors I need. And at this point, I need another kind of door. I need some bifolds for the closets, and I need a double door for the patio. Unfortunately, I don't have either of those kinds of doors currently loaded in my project. So what I need to do next is to load a new family. And we can do that right here on the fly while we're working in the door command by clicking the Load Family button on the ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this will launch the Imperial Library, which was installed for me out of the box. This is the out-of-the-box library that comes with Revit in the Imperial installation. And it has several different folders. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the Doors folder. And what I'd like to do is click the first door, and I'll just kind of quickly arrow through. Good idea to kind of do this. You can watch the preview, and that gives you a sense of what you have available in your library. Now I could load them one at a time by clicking Open, or I can use Windows techniques like Shift and Control keys to select multiples. So in this case, I want the Bifold 2 panel, the Bifold 4 panel, I'm holding down the Control key, and the double glass door. So I'm going to select those three, and I'm going to click Open, and Revit will load those three families into my project. Now once they're loaded, they'll appear over here on the Properties palette. And just like the single flush door, the family name will appear at the top, followed by its types below that. So for the single bifold door, I need a 30 by 80. So I'm going to go ahead and place one right here, and I'll place another one right here. And again, we can change the way it swings, and another one right here. Now notice in this case, kind of got it a little bit off, right? I did that on purpose because I wanted to remind you that temporary dimensions are not limited to just wall layouts. We can use them for any modification. So I can come in here and input a number and shift the location of that door relative to its wall. Furthermore, I accidentally swung the door into the closet instead of out, so I have these little flip grips that I can click on after the fact to change the orientation of that door, and that works on any door. So you can always make such modifications later. Let me go ahead and finish out the layout. We'll add a double bifold door right here, and we'll add a double glass door right here. The process of adding windows is exactly the same as adding doors, so all of the same techniques apply. I'm going to click the window tool. Notice that it also has tag on placement. Notice it also has load family, options bar, properties palette, all of the same behaviors. Now, the only family I have loaded right now is a fixed window. Pretty good chance that we want to have some sort of an operable window in our condo. So I'm going to go ahead and click load family, scroll down to the windows folder, and I'll do a casement double with trim. I'm going to go ahead and open that up, choose a size. I'll do 48 by 48 and begin placing them in the condo. And it's really that simple. And we see that they cut holes in the walls and work the same way as doors do. As a finishing touch, let's go up here to the QAT and click the default 3D view icon. It's been a while since we've looked at 3D, so let's take a look now. Remember that we can hold down the Shift key and press the middle wheel button, drag with the middle wheel button, and we can orbit this thing around and spin it around. And this will give you a sense of how everything is faring in your third dimension. So you can notice that the sill heights of the windows are correct and the way the doors cut through the walls and so forth.